Okay, guys, your cover is likely the first thing your reader is going to see of your work before they pick up your comic and actually read it. So, whether it's a thumbnail image for your webcomic on a hosting site, or it's the cover of your book that they see at a convention or on a shelf, it's got to say a lot about your story in a single image, which is very daunting, don't get me wrong. I found cover design very spooky for a long time. I still kind of do when I start. I'm very nervous. But I've learned some things that I hope will help you make a really sweet cover that you're going to like and it's going to draw people to your story. So some very important things that you need to know about covers is that it's what they convey. Your cover tells a potential reader a lot before they actually open the book and start looking at like the artwork or, click into the webcomic or whatever and start reading your comic. And what gets conveyed through the cover is genre. So, if you have a fantasy comic, there are styles and tropes that happen on fantasy covers, opposed to, say, like a horror comic, which has a very different vibe to it. Your cover also needs to convey tone. So is this going to be a happy story or a dark story or a humorous story? All that gets conveyed through your cover as well. And also intrigue. Your cover needs to show people kind of a glimpse of what this story looks like and like the most interesting part of the story. Don't just put some random boring like part of your story that has nothing to do with the main plot. You want to show kind of a hint at what they're going to get at if they start reading. You want them to look at your cover and be like, oh, who are these two? Who are these two characters? Or, oh man, what is this cool dragon thing? I want to learn more. And finally, your cover needs to show what the artwork will look inside. Heck yeah. Because, when I pick up a comic, I look at the cover, or, whether it's digital or in print, I look at the cover and I go like, oh, this artwork is really pretty or really cute or whatever. And I open the book and I want to see more of that cool, pretty art. So there you go. So those are the things that your cover needs to convey. So here's some things you need to remember when making your cover to achieve all these things. Number one, make sure you're using your prettiest art for the cover. I find that the inside of comics always tends to be like a little messier and a little more plain compared to a cover, which is totally fine because, when you're putting out a webcomic or you're making a comic, obviously you've got like 1 million pages to make and it's only going to be so much quality. So it's totally fine if the internal work is a little bit more plain than the cover. But for your cover, you want to take your foundation that you have of all your lovely comic art and make it super pretty. Make the colors eye-catching. If it's going to be, say, like a black and white cover, make sure to use very high contrast to get attention. You can also use like a pop of color if the majority of it is, say, black and white. You just want to be able to get people's attention. You want someone to look at it and be like, oh, this looks so cool and pretty and the artwork is cool. And then they open it up and they see more of that pretty art. So there you go. Number two, make sure to look into the genre norms for covers in whatever genre you're working in. For example, if it's a romance, you probably want the main couple on the cover, or maybe a blushy protagonist, or a swooning protagonist, or something like that. Maybe you want to show the love interest being all mysterious and cute and stuff. Or maybe it's a mystery. You probably want some mysterious or threatening silhouettes, or maybe an image of an important clue, like a knife or something. I don't know. If it's something like fantasy, make sure you include things like swords, or magic, or kings and queens, or dragons, or fantasy creatures, so that people know what to expect when they open your story. If you're not sure where to look for the genre norms of your covers, the easiest thing is to just go look at comics that are within your genre. What are the popular comics doing? Obviously, don't rip them off entirely, but kind of understand like what elements are catching your attention here. Is it the blushing protagonist, or is it the sexy love interest on the cover? Whatever it is, take some notes and remix it to fit your story and your style. Number three, make sure you always factor in your typography when you're working on your cover. You don't want to design a cover and then shove your title and your byline, I guess your name. You don't want to shove those off into the corner because you want people to see it and to know what kind of comic it is. You want people to know the title when they look at it. And along those same lines, if you're doing, say, like a print comic, make sure you're being careful of the edges of your artwork. Don't put important things like your logo or your name or an important piece of the cover at the very edge, because there's a chance it'll be cut off in printing. So make sure that anything very important is closer to the center of the artwork. But that's more a concern for if you're gonna print the thing. Number 4, make sure you use a composition that leads to your focal point, but also points towards your title. You kind of want like a swirly effect where they look at, say, the main piece of artwork, like, I don't know, your blushy main character, and then they look up at the title. Even if you have like lots of characters in your shot, pick someone or something to be the main focus. Maybe give them the most space in the image, for example. You want people to look at kind of the main purpose of this cover. You know, what do you want them to look at? Make that big. And obviously your typography and title. Number 5? I don't know what numbers these are. I did these out of order. Next point. If you're not sure what kind of content you should have for your cover, choose an important scene from the, upcoming chapters, or say the volume if you're going to print a bunch of pages, where you can show kind of what the most exciting thing is from this story and put it on your cover, and there you go. People are going to want to read so they can get to that cool scene. Another option is you can show your main characters within the mood and genre. For example, if it's a mystery, maybe you want your lead detective character standing over the crime scene, or chasing after a villainous shadow or something like that. Show off your villain and your hero if they're the main focus. And finally, once you have kind of all these ideas for what you want to put into it, you got your genre and you know kind of what content you want on your cover, and you understand your typography and stuff, make sure that you iterate a lot. I'd recommend doing lots of drafts up front. The way Bones and I tend to do it is I'll do like 20 thumbnail sketches of different ideas. And honestly, like, they're not good. It's usually like stick figures and weird shapes and stuff. And then I show them to Bones, and he usually picks a few of his favorites, maybe like 3 to 5. And then we take those, like 3 to 5, and we put them on Twitter or Discord, and we have people vote on what their favorite is. We have the ability to do that because we know lots of people, and we have a Discord with lots of people on it, so we do get to know kind of what our audience actually wants. So if you have an audience, show it to them and be like, hey, what catches your eye? What appeals to you? Because if they like your stuff, they're gonna know what other people who also like your stuff will like. But you can also put this vote to, say, your friends or people close to you who kind of are into the same stuff as you. And basically, you just find out what are people drawn to the most. Until finally you have like a final one that is the favorite. And then you take that and you flesh it out into a proper pencil and inking and sketch and cover or whatever. It's really good to try out a lot of ideas before you really commit. In a really kind of quick, sketchy manner, so that you don't waste all your time making a cover that isn't eye-catching at all. So, there you go. I hope that helps. Covers are tricky, trust me. It takes a lot of iteration and trying things out, but you'll get there. I believe in you. It took me a long time to figure out covers, let me tell you. I made so many awful covers until finally I kind of maybe know what I'm doing. At least I get more feedback on it, so I get better results. But try your best. You can do it. If you have a design and you need some feedback on it, make sure to check out our Patreon, where Bones and I do a monthly critique stream for our patrons. Or if you need it checked right now, you can go on our Discord, and there are tons of other wonderful artists who are happy to offer critiques and feedback. So go check that out. Links to all those things in the description. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Oh my god, it's so sweaty in this blanket fort. I made a mistake.